So, in the year 2026, it is very obvious that the multiverse has become a very popular thing in the Spider-Man series. And you know what? I hear it. I am all for it. I love the Spider-Verse series, and I can't wait to see what they do in Beyond the Spider-Verse. Even though they're 4 years late. But it has come to my attention that a lot of people thought that Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is the first mainstream multiverse media that came out for the Spider-Man series back in 2018, and that couldn't be further from the truth. In fact, the mainstream Spider multiverse media came out all the way back in 2010, a piece of media that you cannot find in in-game stores, or it is too expensive to get the physical media. And that piece of media, my friends, is a video game called Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions. The early 2010s was actually a really weird time for Spider-Man media. On one hand, you had the Amazing Spider-Man films that did not do well during its time and was received to average to absolutely horrible. And on the other hand, you had the Beanox Spider-Man games, which was a coin flop. On one hand, you had the beautiful game Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions, and then you had the Amazing Spider-Man 2.
I don't really want this.
On the other hand though, Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions is definitely the best video game to come out of the Beanox series, because it did a lot of things right. The introduction to the characters, the story, the gameplay, even the voice acting is all done really well. And I am very lucky to be able to play and beat this game for the first time in years on hard difficulty. But oh man, playing this game on hard difficulty for the first time, it was a lot of head racking, but definitely enjoyable. So let's start off with the story.
Well, get on with it, motherfucker.
Now, as much as I like the story, I'm not gonna lie to you, it is pretty basic. The story starts off with Mysterio being up to no good, entering the museum to look for a Peter item, that item being the fragment. When Mysterio finds the fragment and gazes upon it, Lord and behold, Spider-Man enters and aims to stop Mysterio. They have a mini fight, and about 8 jokes later, Spider-Man accidentally breaks the fragment and the fragment pieces spread across the multiverse. Madam Web appears, no, not that Madam Web, and tells Madam Web that you need to find the pieces of the fragment that are spread across the multiverse. But here's the thing, this is what this game does right. In my opinion, it introduces the characters really well. You see, in the beginning of the game, we have this mini tutorial of this game telling us how to play the game, and it introduces the 4 main Spider-Mans: the Amazing Spider-Man, Spider-Noir, Ultimate Spider-Man, and Spider-Man 2099. And these 4 versions of Spider-Man have to go across their timelines and fight alternate versions of villains that are in the comics in order to collect the fragments to save the world. With the Amazing Spider-Man fighting villains like Juggernaut and Deadpool, Spider-Noir fighting versions of Vulture, which is a cannibal human-eating vulture, and another version of Goblin. Wow, this goblin is really creepy. Spider-Man 2099 fighting a monster version of Hobgoblin and an enhanced Scorpion. Alternate Spider-Man fighting another version of Jamie Foxx and Carnage. After they all find the pieces of the fragments, they have to fight a way big version of Mysterio.
Whoa, check me out. I'm not just big, I'm way big.
What I will say about this game is that the alternate versions of the character don't really talk to each other. The game mainly focuses on how the Spider-Men interact with their villains and get to the pieces of the fragments. They don't really talk to each other until the end of the game, which is kind of sad, but at the same time, it's really the same Spider-Man, just alternate versions, so what can I really say? For this part of the video, there's not much I can really say. The game story is just basic at best. Nothing wrong with that though, because I do like the voice actors in this game and the dialogue that is portrayed throughout the game. Now for the gameplay. Right, this is my mindset while going into this video game. Played quite a few Spider-Man games before playing Shattered Dimensions, so in my mind I thought the combat was going to be similar to the other game, but wow was I wrong, because the combat is pretty different. Good, but different from what I expected. This game you can do variety of combos. You have the basic attacks, which is pressing square 5 times. You have the dodge, which is holding L2 and then pressing X. That's the part I wasn't really used to. Launching enemies into the air, which is just holding triangle and then doing combos in the air, and grabbing enemies by pressing circle. You can also launch them in the air by holding triangle, or you can just swing them around by holding circle, which it is pretty simple. But like I said, I had a certain mindset while playing this game, and I played this game on hard difficulty for my first playthrough, so you know those death counts are racking up. What really makes the gameplay stand out is the uniqueness of the Spider-Man characters. See, each of the Spider-Man characters has their own gimmick and special abilities. The Amazing Spider-Man being more basic and focusing on combos and agility, the Spider-Noir missions being more stealth-based and hiding into the shadows, Batman Arkham style, the 2099 missions focusing more on speed and diving into the air and punching at enemies, and the ultimate version of Spider-Man just going ham and wrecking everywhere and everyone in the place. Each character gameplay is fun and unique, but I gotta say the 2099 one is probably my least favourite type of missions. While the Ultimate Spider-Man being my favourite type of missions, as you have an ability called the Rage ability. This is when Peter gets angry and the symbiote fully takes over and he just destroys and wrecks the place. However, there's one big issue with the game, and that is the freaking camera. You see, when you're just fighting the enemies, you're not only fighting the enemies, you're also fighting the camera, and sometimes the camera can even cost you your life. And specifically for the level design in the amazing levels, they can be a bit repetitive. I'm not gonna lie, Sandman and the Juggernaut levels look pretty much the same to me. Other than that though, the levels are very fun. It consists of you chasing a boss fight for that particular level and saving civilians and fighting a bunch of enemies along the way. What's so unique about this game that I can't think of any other Spider-Man game that does that is that there's always a boss fight in each level. There's a mini boss fight in the beginning, there could be an enemy that's a lot bigger than Spider-Man that can also act like as a mini boss fight, and there's also a big boss fight at the end with the characters powered up in order for you to get the fragment. Even during the cutscenes, there's also a first-person POV as Spider-Man, which I do really like, and there's also a first person of you punching an enemy in the face, which is, I guess, is pretty cool. If you're playing this game for the first time, however, I do not recommend you playing this on hard mode for the first time. You are going to die several times and the levels are going to take freakishly long. But aside from that, the combat is very, very, very good. I love it so much. Boss fights in this game are quite spectacular, if I would say so myself. Oh wait, I just lied. After collecting all pieces of the fragments as all 4 Spider-Man, we then go head first dive into fighting Mysterio, which is basically just a way big version of himself. All 4 Spider-Man using their unique abilities, we then take down the way big version of Mysterio. Not gonna lie, it was kind of a boring boss fight, 4 out of 10. After defeating and bullying the Mysterio, the 4 Spider-Man are then congratulated by Madam Web. They all talk to each other, insult each other, and at the end of the game, they all say this one very line: "I'm the best." Honestly, playing this game in 2026 was a challenging but fun experience. And if they ever decided to make a remaster of this game, their bank accounts will be swimming in money. I have not met one single person that dislikes this Spider-Man game, and that's for a good reason. Everyone loves this game. It's an amazing introduction to the Spider-Verse series, and honestly, if it weren't for this game, we might not even have for Into the Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse, and we will never get to see Beyond the Spider-Verse. We should all thank this game for being the beginning of the multiverse Spider-Man series. Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions, despite its flaws, is easily one of the best Spider-Man games I've ever played. It definitely goes up there in the tier list, and I would recommend you to play this game, but then again, I don't recommend you to spend £70 to £50. And if you'll excuse me, I gotta go finish at your time now, so see you in another 3 months.